Hello and welcome to today's episode of Health University, where we talk all things women's health. We talk fertility, we talk pregnancy and postpartum, and today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Jennifer Bonamasa. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Bonamasa.
Bonamasa.
Bonamasa. It's a beautiful name.
Thank
And
you.
Jennifer is a midwife, and she's going to talk to us today about the importance of considering midwifery through your pregnancy and hopefully home birth if that's accessible to you. So let me give you her little bio. So I'm going to look at it because it's quite replete. She is a licensed midwife and prenatal educator who serves families throughout Los Angeles and their surrounding communities with a deep presence and trust in the birthing process. Her offerings extend from fertility through postpartum, encompassing prenatal education, and we just talked about how important education is, peaceful home birth and water birth, and compassionate well person care. With every family, Jennifer weaves intuition, evidence-based care, and heartfelt support, uplifting informed choice. Yes, we need informed choice, honoring the sacred nature of birth, and creating a space for an empowering birthing experience. A graduate of the MEAC accredited National Midwifery Institute, she is certified by the North American Registry of Midwives and licensed by the Medical Board of California. And I think that I want to put a highlight on that this is something that is a licensed profession, and we can talk about that a little bit more. She has the honor of walking alongside hundreds of families through their home, birth center, and hospital birth experience, holding space for each unique journey with gratitude and reverence. That is so beautiful. So welcome, Jennifer. It's so lovely to have you here. We've met through a co-op, an organization called Matricas, and I know it's mostly it was founded in the Southern California area. So I think that's why we see a lot of Southern California representatives as part of it. And so your practice is a private practice where your clients or patients come to see you or you go to their home to help them through their whole pregnancy experience. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned fertility. So a lot of our listeners have fertility, as part of their challenge.
Mhm.
Is there something that you would say midwives do in the preconception phase? And would you like to share that with us?
Sure. Midwifery is really focused on whole person care. One of the aspects that we are really committed to is providing a beautiful combination of holistic and evidence-based care. So we approach fertility from a variety of different aspects, from nutrition, looking at the family health history, the individual's personal health history, and also their partner,
Hmm.
if they have a partner that's participating in the fertility journey as well,
Hmm.
and really a family-centered approach. So also not just looking at the birthing person, but also their partner's health history, their nutrition, and really addressing how they're feeling mentally, physically, and spiritually, because all of that is um, is part of the fertility journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you find that many people come to you in their preconception phase, or are they coming to you with the positive pregnancy test?
It really varies,
Mhm.
and we meet people where they're at.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. That seems to be a statement that I'm hearing more and more these days. Finally,
Yeah.
finally. So let's talk about the difference between midwifery and obstetric care. Would you share with us your thoughts and or facts about what's different, what's the same, what people can expect?
Sure. So they're basically different approaches to care. So the obstetric model of care kind of views birth as a medical condition.
Mhm.
They are looking at it through the lens of looking for pathology.
Mhm.
And so when you're seeing an obstetrician, it's important to note that they are surgeons, and that they specialize in looking for pathology and then addressing that through different methods of intervention.
Mhm.
The midwifery model of care views birth as a normal physiological process.
Yes.
And so the people that we care for in an out of hospital setting are going to be low risk individuals.
Mhm.
They are generally going to have a very healthy lifestyle, very mindful of their daily activity, their nutrition, their daily practices. And so, in a normal low risk pregnancy, it's best to kind of just let the body do what it wants to do, and we kind of
What
are
it is
there for that.
designed to do.
Exactly. We are there for that what if scenario, but most often it's best to just kind of let the body, the baby, the birthing person do what they're naturally ready and capable of doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you ever find yourself working in tandem with an OB?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we have a really wonderful but short list of practitioners that we do what's called collaborative care.
Mhm.
And through that, we are able to provide prenatal care, and then they're also able to see a physician. So for my practice in particular, we would refer out for any kind of ultrasounds. Non-stress tests, biophysical profiles, if those are indicated. And so we would refer out. For first-time birthing families, it is sometimes comforting for them to have a collaborating physician
Mhm.
in case we have any kind of transfer that they could then go into the care of that physician.
Mhm.
And so that can be really comforting for first-time birthing
Yeah.
families.
Yeah, I imagine. And I also imagine that many people have an OBGYN for their general reproductive wellness care prior to getting pregnant. So there might be a little comfort in that as well. Do you in this collaborative model, do you go into the hospital as well if they're choosing a hospital birth, or are you strictly home birth?
So I offer a variety of different packages because again, home birth isn't for everyone for a
Mhm.
variety of reasons. I'm just really passionate that I want everyone to be able to have midwifery care if
Mhm.
that's what they're choosing.
Mhm.
So I offer a variety of packages from monitrice, which is basically having a clinical provider like a licensed midwife
Mhm.
care for you in a limited clinical setting. So basically, I could come to someone's home while they're in labor, run vitals on them, listen to baby, take heart tones, do a cervical check if that's what they would like. Sometimes people feel more comfortable going to the hospital later in their labor and more of an active labor phase. And so having someone there that can kind of assess them during labor in real time can give
Mhm.
them information that allows them to make an informed decision on when they want to head to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we can provide full midwifery care, which looks very different from the obstetric model, where generally they're going to discharge you at a hospital and then they kind of don't see you until 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So the midwifery model is really, really comprehensive in terms of the type of clinical support we also provide, but also the emotional support as well.
Could you go into a little detail about that? That what is this, the full midwifery
Sure.
experience? Thank you.
So our visits are going to look pretty different. The obstetric model is usually anywhere from 7 to maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Mhm.
That's the extent of what you're going to get for a prenatal visit.
Mhm.
Our visits are in our like really warm, cozy office, so we don't use stirrups. It doesn't feel like you're in a clinical kind of setting.
Mhm.
We'll make you some tea, have some snacks, have a warm, cozy blanket,
Mhm.
essential oils if you would like. And our appointments are an hour long, so we
Mhm.
really, really get to know our families. We're really invested in their experience so that by the time they're in labor, we have already forged that bond with them, with their families, with their partners. So when we walk into a birth setting, a lot of times my families will look at me and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Right.
Oh, you're here.
I-
My person's here." And that's the kind of energy you want in your
That's
birth
right.
space.
That's what used to happen in the village setting in the
Yeah,
Wayback Machine.
right.
So you mentioned your appointments are about an hour long. How many appointments through a pregnancy would a mother have?
Yeah. So we see everyone at the same schedule of care as an obstetrician and
Mhm.
OBGYN. So up until 28 weeks, we're going to see you every 4 weeks.
Mhm.
From 28 weeks to 36 weeks, we see you every 2 weeks. And then from 36 weeks on, we see you weekly.
Okay, that's brilliant. And each of those is an hour.
It's an hour.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing that
Yeah.
to be able to deliver that kind of personalized care. You get to know somebody pretty intimately when you're spending an hour with them. So that's lovely.
Absolutely.
So who is a good candidate for home birth?
Great. So first of all, anyone should be looking into midwifery care because we want people to know that this is an option.
Hmm.
So even if you're not looking for necessarily home birth, midwifery care is there for everyone.
Hmm.
Midwives in general are experts in normal physiological birth. So if you want to birth out of the hospital, obviously low risk pregnancies are going to be the families that we can serve in the out of hospital setting.
Hmm.
So anyone that has a straightforward low risk pregnancy. But that being said, we really do offer individualized care. So someone may think that they're not going to be a candidate. Generally, anyone over 35, they're going to say, oh, you're high risk.
Right.
That is not something that would disclude you from home birth. So
Gotcha.
what we're looking at is your individual health history and your family's health history.
And
Just
I,
because you're over the age of 35 does not disqualify you from an out
right,
of
that's
hospital birth.
geriatric pregnancy.
Right.
That that phrase is just so insulting.
Yes, I would agree.
So tell me, if you will, if you can, the difference between a midwife and a doula.
Wonderful question. So doulas are incredible. They're incredibly beneficial for birthing families. However, they are not clinical providers.
Okay.
So midwives, licensed midwives, we pass the boards. We are licensed by the Medical Board of California. We are licensed clinical providers.
Mhm.
Doulas provide emotional and physical support throughout your pregnancy, during your labor, during postpartum, but they are not clinical providers. So
Okay.
that's the big
It's an
difference here.
important distinction.
Yes,
Do you ever work with doulas in the do midwives and doulas work together,
absolutely.
or is it too much of an overlap?
No, no, no. They're very different roles. So
Okay.
we are the medical team,
Yep.
and they are the emotional and physical support team.
Well,
Now,
the reason I say that is it sounds like you're the medical team plus plus. You know,
we are. I mean, obviously, we're gonna kind of care for you and support you mentally, physically, spiritually. But in general, your midwife, your midwifery team is going to join you more in active labor. So
Mhm.
your doula might be coming
I
earlier
see.
in labor because you want your clinical team to be on their A game when
Yeah.
it's go
Yeah.
time.
You don't want them to have been sitting waiting for effacement and dilation for 18 hours and then it's
Right,
go time. You
right,
want them
right,
fresh. Very
right,
good.
right.
So how did you become a midwife?
Oh, um, so I had been through a variety of occupations throughout my life. And I had just really felt a strong call that if I was going to be spending time away from my family and my babies, it really needed to be something that was meaningful, where I was making a difference in the world. Felt very, very called to supporting women through this kind of transformational process. I had an amazing doula with both of our boys,
Mhm.
who are now 21 and 18. I
My
don't know how
goodness.
that happened. And so really that really started me thinking. And so I actually made a list of all the things that made me happy, and babies and puppies were at the top of the list. And so I just started on my path doing doula work first. And the more that I got, um, gained experience throughout LA in a variety of settings, from home births to birth centers to hospitals, it started out as a whisper. And then it got louder and louder and louder. And midwifery really is a calling. It's not a job. It is a calling. It's a way of life. You don't check out when you're a midwife. We think about our families when they're no longer in our care. You know, we pray for them. We hold space for them long after they've left our care, and it's definitely the most rewarding work I've ever done.
Thank you for sharing in our conversation here at Health University. One of the ways in which we help people improve their fertility is through our 5-element fertility quiz. Please click on the link below at yourfertilityquiz.com and take this short quiz. You'll receive a free report that includes easy to implement ideas to improve your whole health and your fertile health. Now let's return to our topic in today's episode. I have the blessing of having been trained in a little bit by Raven Lang. I don't know if her name means anything to you. She's sort of like the original midwife,
Oh,
like back in like I don't even know how far back, 25, 30 years, 30 years, 40 years. But when you say it's a calling, when she speaks, it is very clear that this is, this is not a vocation for her. It's an avocation, if I've got the distinction right. I mean, it really comes from her heart. I couldn't imagine her having been anything other than a midwife when she speaks about the sacredness of witnessing and supporting people giving birth. So.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, the time, allowing the time, allowing for the sacred experience, how do you find, or how have you found this to be a positive impact for the mother, the person who gave birth, the baby, and the family writ large?
Oh, that's such a great question.
Mm,
I really talk to my families extensively about doing everything we can to help build this support system so that you can lay the foundation for having the most positive birthing experience that you can. And that looks different for everyone.
mhm,
So the first thing I tell my families is there is no right or wrong
mhm,
decision. Always go wherever's going to bring you the most peace in
mhm,
whatever that looks like for you.
mhm,
So I really am passionate about helping people have an empowered birthing experience. They're in charge. They are in charge. The person in the room that's in charge is the birthing person. And the
mhm.
only person that outranks them is the baby. So the
Right.
birthing person is the boss, but the baby is the big boss. The baby
Okay.
ultimately decides how and when and where they're going to come into the world. And
Mhm,
we always have to respect that because
mhm,
sometimes babies know things that we don't know.
mhm.
When someone has a positive birthing experience, that lays such a firm and beautiful and meaningful foundation from where they start their postpartum journey,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
right? So when someone feels like they rocked their birth,
Yeah.
that's a really great place to start when you're learning how to be a new parent.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think we don't talk enough about is that the babies have their own individual experience of pregnancy, of labor, of their own birth, of their postpartum. And even though they might not have the language of words, that is all in their nervous system. That stays with them. So when
Mhm.
they have that peaceful birthing experience, how does that settle into their nervous system as they start their journey into the world on this side of the threshold?
Right.
And then the other thing that really seems to be not discussed enough is the partner's
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Please say more.
Because,
Mhm.
yeah, they're having that home, witnessing this incredible, powerful transformation while going through their own transformation.
Mhm.
Um, they also need to be honored in terms of how this journey has impacted them and who they are and who they're becoming.
Mhm.
And so we really talk extensively about that through our prenatal journey and preparation.
I can
And it
actually feel your emotion with
oh,
that. And
thank
yeah,
you.
but it is so important that every person in the family unit or about to become the family unit, if it's the first birth, really has his or her own or their own experience, and to honor that at the beginning or even before the beginning of labor certainly is, it really sets the stage for a respectful and and as you say, a peaceful or blessed experience. Do you bring the birthing partners into your appointments, or is it for the okay, for each
Oh,
appointment?
we are family centers. So
Mhm.
we've had grandparents and aunties and cousins
Oh,
and older children and younger children. And anyone that's going to be at the birth, it would be really helpful for them to get to know our team. That way we can always discuss any concerns or questions that they have, but
mhm.
also build a bond with them. Because when
Mhm.
they feel good with us, that's the kind of energy we want in that birth space. We
Yeah.
want nice, calm, peaceful, positive energy, because that's what's really going to help the oxytocin to flow. It helps
Mhm.
labor flow. It helps everyone feel safe and calm. And so normalizing the birthing process,
Yeah.
normal, 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 and knowing what that is and what that looks like, because that is not how it is portrayed in the media. It's
Right.
not how it's
No,
portrayed in
no,
movies and on TV.
no.
So reprogramming what they understand normal birth to look like.
Hmm.
And that's just the kind of positive, peaceful energy we want in the space. Yeah.
Yeah. You talked about the team. Tell me, who are the members of the team?
So I always work with at least a team of 2 licensed midwives at all times.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll have an extra set of hands, a birth assistant or a student, and that way we have someone that is dedicated to mom, someone's dedicated to baby, an extra set of hands. Um, and who the team is kind of varies because we all do have our own clients, and
Mhm.
so but I like my families to know at least a couple of people so that they're familiar with different members of our team.
Yeah,
So it's not just
that's
someone
the
that they
case.
haven't met
Yeah,
before
yeah.
coming into their space.
I can
Um,
tell you that my daughter's 33, mind you, but when I gave birth, it was in a hospital setting with a midwife,
yeah,
and we had never met before.
yeah,
So, and I'm so grateful that I had a midwife because the doc just wasn't available. It was the doctor's midwife who came in to cover. And it was really such a beautiful experience. But there was that moment of, I don't know you at
yeah,
this most vulnerable time. So you make a very, very salient point that it's important when we're in that very, very vulnerable time and space that we have at least met, seen each other before. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, for the listening and viewing audience here, if they were to say, "Gosh, this sounds fantastic," I just don't know that, I don't know that it's for me. What are their other options? Are there pieces of the package that they can pick up along the way?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So some families want to birth in a home, and some families feel safer in a hospital. There's no right or wrong answer.
Mhm.
Midwifery care is available to everyone.
Mhm.
So for instance, if people want to do something with collaborative care with us, that means that they can do full prenatal care and postpartum care with us, and then birth in the hospital.
Mhm.
And that way they're getting those hour-long appointments.
Mhm.
We do for our families, we do 4 postpartum appointments.
Mhm.
So the first one is 24 to 48 hours after you deliver. The next one is 1 week. Then we do one at 3 weeks and one at 6 weeks. And
Nice.
it's very, very, very comprehensive in terms of lactation, nutrition, monitoring vitals, weighing the baby,
Mhm.
assessing to see how the whole family unit is doing and supporting them accordingly. So all of those kinds of things are available with all of my packages,
Okay.
because I think it's really important to remember we're not done when the baby's here.
Right.
We're we're just getting started.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so we really talk extensively about that. And then obviously our home birth package as well. All of my packages include the prenatal classes that I offer for my families.
Mhm.
It is 4 classes in one, and it's a comprehensive childbirth class, lactation class, newborn care class, and postpartum care.
Are
So
these online classes?
this is all in person.
All in person. Okay. Hmm.
And so that covers everything from 36 weeks gestation until 6 weeks postpartum.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the most comprehensive class you can find. It is taught from a midwifery perspective,
Hmm.
but we do touch upon things that happen in the hospital because we just never know, and I don't ever want my families to feel like, gosh, this happened and we never talked about it.
Hmm.
I'm a big believer that knowledge is power. So the more that people know, the more that they feel empowered to be able to take control over their experience.
I couldn't agree more. Are there resources for someone who's listening who maybe is not geographically able to get to you? And
Absolutely.
where might someone find those resources?
So on my website, they can look and how to get in touch with me. And then I also do offer virtual consulting as well,
Beautiful.
and private classes. So that's also available.
Beautiful. That's what I was hoping that I that I would hear. And your website is
www.laboroflove.net.
LA as in Los Angeles.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
We kind of, I'm sure, just covered the surface. Is there anything that I haven't asked, since I don't know midwifery, that you would want to say, oh, you know what, these people should really know this as well?
They should really know that compassionate, trauma-informed, nurturing practitioners are out there and available for them.
Mhm.
They should know that if someone makes you feel unsafe or there are red flags with your practitioner, to listen to your intuition,
Mhm.
listen to your gut. Everyone deserves to be cared for with dignity and respect.
Right.
No one should touch your body without your permission. True informed consent means asking your consent before doing things.
Mhm.
Ask questions.
Yes.
Educate yourself. The time that you spend educating yourself and investing in that to prepare for your journey will pay tenfold.
Yeah.
Um, and always trust your intuition. That's the biggest thing I can share with people. You're almost never wrong.
Yeah. And it's again, especially if there's an intuition early on when
Yeah.
you're, barely 12 weeks pregnant,
Yep.
you're going to, that will be amplified by the time you are in labor. So don't, so really, trust that gut, as you say. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with the other person.
Mhm.
We have rapport
Mhm.
based upon things that are maybe intangible. Maybe there's just something that just does the sound of a voice, and that's going to matter when you're in labor because the sound of a voice, if it's grating at 12 weeks, it's going to be excruciating in labor because everything is so heightened during labor. So I think that's brilliant. And I often will say, I'm probably weekly say to people, we work for you because people come into my practice having felt, not taken care of by the system and not taken care of by or not listened to by their doctor. And I'll say, we work for you, just as you would not go to, your auto repair shop without saying, this is what I want to have done. This is what I expect. You certainly should not be handing over your health care without having some agency in it, some cooperation in it. So, and as you say, we not only work for you, we work for the baby. In my case, it's the follicles and the eggs and the embryo and the baby during pregnancy. But in your case, it's baby from positive pregnancy test through babe in arms. So that is so beautiful. I want to make sure that the listening audience goes to your website. So I'll have the link to your website in the show notes. And I want to just thank you for taking this time with me today because we spend necessary time on the struggle of fertility and the struggle of pregnancy perhaps because people need to be informed, but I really love that we're balancing it with this conversation about the sanctity and the sacredness and the beauty, the awesomeness of pregnancy and delivery and postpartum care. So I thank you so very much for your time, Jennifer, and I hope that maybe we can have a chance to circle back another time because I'm sure as soon as we close out this, we'll both be thinking of, oh, I wanted to say this other thing.
I would love that. That sounds wonderful.
Okay, meanwhile, I will say to the listening and viewing audience, thank you for your time. And as we close out each episode of Health University Podcast, I say class dismissed. Hey, thanks for joining us today here at Health University. If you want more episodes like this at Health University, you can find them wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode. If you have any thoughts or questions, please drop a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you at our next episode of Health University. But for now, class dismissed.